Hello, hope you're doing fine. Welcome to our channel, Joint Hands Green Life Trees. Uh, my name is John Bosco, and I'll be updating you about my journey today. I'm heading to Kakwara village, where I grew up, and also studied at Kakwara Primary School. And today I'm catching up with a friend, my friend George. A friend whom I've not met for quite a while. George is a teacher, and he also started up a school, and he has got a mentorship program. So this day he had invited many friends to speak to the many youths who are in secondary school and those in college about career, and also just to motivate them concerning the journey of their lives. And in this video you'll get to hear speeches from various stakeholders. We also have got Jawabu Choir, that is a choir at Kakwara Baptist Church. They'll be performing here. And I've also given out the story of my life. And in this story of my life, I've used my very own story to encourage many other youths who are hailing from weak backgrounds, so that they can have the resilience, they can put on the requisite strength to pursue and make a future for their lives. I hope you will enjoy every bit of it. This is Joint Hands Green Life Trees.
Kuna wengi walianza safari, lakini sasa wameishia njiani. Safari hatutaiweza, tutaishia njiani. Safari hatutaiweza, tutaishia njiani. Safari, lakini sasa wameishia kwenye uchawi. Kuna wengi walianza safari, lakini sasa wameishia njiani. Safari hatutaiweza, tutaishia njiani. Safari hatutaiweza, tutaishia njiani. Safari yetu ni ngumu sana, yahitaji moyo. Tuvumilie, watumishi wa Mungu. Kuna mabonde, kuna milima, vikwazo ni vingi. Bila nguvu zake Mungu wetu hatuwezi shida.
Dala ma dinde glory.
That kind of life is a threat to you now and your future. Because young people are not learning to be creative, they are learning to be dependent. Don't be dependent. You should want to be independent. You can depend on yourself, not even on your parents. I don't remember any one day my parents gave me any money when I was in university. Instead, I was giving back to them. Be creative. How do we use our time? And let me talk to those who are in high school. A day has 24 hours. Out of these 24 hours, if you take away 8 hours ya kulala, umebaki na ngapi? 16. Ukitoa another 8 hours ya walimu unafundishwa class from morning mpaka saa 10, umebakisha ngapi? 8. What do you do with the 8 hours? Have you ever asked yourself what you're doing with 8 hours? Huh? Many students keep on complaining, there is no time to study, walimu wanafundisha sana, mara kuna tuition, kuna nini, and you know teachers are only with you from 8 or maybe 7 to 5 in the evening. The rest of the time, you are just free. Then you complain about time. You are saying there's no time to study. Now, if you are a good student who wants to do well in your exams, think about how you are using all your 8 hours. Look at the subjects you are doing. List down the topics that you are covering. Then, allocate your time proportionately to the subjects that you are covering. If you do that very well, you will find that in a term or in a year, you will be able to read and even reread whatever you have covered more than 8 years. But now, and more so with time, we end up wasting our time, then we complain. Don't waste time in school. Time is a very important resource. It is very plenty for those who are
how these things nowadays. So we are still living in poverty. Diseases are still there. See, there is a lot of ignorance. Actually, we have come here for mentorship. A lot of opportunities are outside there, but we ignore. It is there for my plea as a youth that we march forward so that one day, one time, if you are gifted in the football as a youth, we want to see Cristiano Ronaldo out of you. If you are gifted in the field of farming, we want to see many sacks of maize coming out of your what or your farms. As one of the speakers said that we build ourselves, we be self-employed.
Being coming from a humble background does not stop me from exploiting the possible avenues that are present in our lives. If I could use maybe the humbleness of my background as an excuse, perhaps I could have not been here. I'm purposely standing here as a representative of Bosco. As you heard it mentioned severally, the Bosco is a student body that is bringing all students across the whole county together, to reason together, and to see what should we do as students. And we are very happy that this program taking place right away is part of the objectives of the Bosco, giving mentorships programs to our students, connecting our students to the possible opportunities within our community, enabling our students
that once we are done with education, it's ready job out there. And once we are out, we find it a little bit different. And my main advice or maybe motivation to you is that it's not always easy. A bit of my history might be funny. I schooled myself. I would say that I grew an orphan, but I refused the tag of being poor and being an orphan. I'm the only surviving child in our family. My mother left me when I was just in primary 7. And when I did my KCPE, I was supposed to be taken for a mechanics course. I was really young. I grew up a very small, thin boy. I think I couldn't even carry a car tire. I refused that. I went to school. I was the best in our school. And it's a privilege that I thank God that I didn't know how to be number 2. Even though I could suffer because of school fee, whenever I got back to school, I was ever position 1. That helped me in high school. I got some bursaries that helped me move. The areas that bursaries could cover, I would do charcoal. I would look for colleagues with the trees. We burn charcoals just to get some money so I could pay for school fee. And by that time, I'm living in a center somewhere, a rented house, about 200 shillings per month. You can imagine a house of 200, how I was looking. But I refused to drop out of school. I could always find refuge in my uncle, who I grew with as my dad. I always speak good of him because he gave me shelter. So my advice to you guys, you might be experiencing challenges in fee payment when on campus. Right now it has been doubled. Some courses are now more expensive in public universities than they are even in private universities. And you imagine, like in engineering courses and the computer science, you'll spend up to about 1.5 million for you to finish it in 4 or 5 years for the BSc students. It's a bit hectic, but never give up. Never lose hope. And I'm very happy with the past panelists who have shared with us here about the life skills that we experience as young guys. I was told to talk about entrepreneurship, and since most of us are still in school, this is a bit sensitive topic to discuss in this stage. So mine is more of a motivation to you guys that do not maybe despise your humble beginning, and do not depend on one career that, maybe I'm an engineer, I did this particular course, and now I just have to stick to this career. Just try other areas as well. Even when you're still in school, during holidays, you can find something useful to you, something that is of economic value to you. Life is not that easy. But as well, if you trust in God, you must have discipline. First, self-discipline. Love yourself first. No one will love you if you don't love yourself. First, have passion for greater things in life. Look at where you are coming from and see that let change come from me. There are no jobs. We can't promise you that this government will employ you. So when you are studying, don't expect employment from government. It is you to create that employment.
A long time when we used to school, teachers who taught us those days, they liked to challenge us whenever there was a problem. They could tell us that in this region, it is very hard to get teachers, and even if they were taken away, restaffing our schools would be a problem. This is one of the statements that pushed me to really pursue my ambition to become a teacher. And This gathering, we wanted to give an eye-opener to the young people. When I say young, it is not only you, there are others, but we have to have an eye-opener so that we compete with the other part of the world. Those days when I used to go to school, I can remember clearly my first leather shoes. I put it on in Form 1. I put it on in Form 1. Greet your neighbor and tell him or her we are better off. Greet your neighbor and tell him or her we are better off. So I used to, because we had challenges and my father was just a peasant father. I came from a very humble family. I had siblings. We were a family of 7 brothers. You can imagine all going to school. Having gone through that, even though we have challenges today, it is not as it was during our days. You can see we have started from somewhere. We have made some steps. We are not where we were when I was going to school, isn't it? So that is why we are here to share experiences. That is what has pushed me to work hard to become what I am today.
Baby, unajua tumetoka far, hakika na sio chocha, usije kunitoroka ma, nitapata maitocha. Unajua tumetoka far, hakika sio chocha, usije kunitoroka ma, nitapata maitocha. Nimejijawe
Sawa, umekataa kuchangamuka pesa? Naona unachangamuka. Sawa. Dalam suaminya dong ini kau baca, kita lakukan dong ini dia. Dong ini kau baca, kita lakukan dong ini dia. Sudah jadi dalam mama, dalamnya jadi. Timur selama berdua itu ya, ini ada kepada mana.
My name is Okomo John Bosco. I'm son of the late Mr. Okomo. Most of you were born far later after he had died. As opposed to what many speakers have stated here, I'm here to re-energize you because you need some energy to get moving. The going sometimes gets very tough. And for you to get moving, you've got to be tough so that the going gets moving. I'm an example of a child who would have grown up in the streets because I had every reason to be in the streets. And if you found me in the streets of any city, Kisumu, Nairobi, or wherever, or even in the streets of Migori, and you end up giving my history, it will be justified that indeed he has every reason to be a street boy. If I became, any domestic worker around and you found me in any home doing domestic work, there was every reason to justify why I ought to have been a domestic worker. But I didn't give in to those reasons. Instead, I gave myself a reason to get moving. My story is too long to narrate in one single day, so it means even in 1 hour it won't be enough. I just have to squeeze it within the little time that we have so that you guys get to pick a point that will get you moving for better part of your life. When I was growing up, I'm a son of a teacher. And my father was one of the best teachers that fate has ever brought our way in the society. He gave me the best that a parent can give a child. And then when I joined secondary school, when I was in Form 1, he got sick, he died. And after he died, I was left with my mother. I lived with my mother for about 6 months after my father had died, and she also died. Then I went to live with my grandmother. She was too old, she was aging, and just about to die. And a few years later, she passed on. Then I went to live with an uncle, whom I stayed with for a while. Life wasn't quite easy. Then he also passed on. I had myself to think for myself what direction I needed to take in life. And it wasn't so easy. So in this very village, I dropped out of school and became a sugarcane cutter. I also became a domestic worker. I worked in a number of homes here, so the people seated here can tell it. They know the homes in which I was a domestic worker, and I was being paid around 700 shillings per month was my salary. And I dropped out of school, and life was not presenting any hope. Then what was worse was that I was a vagabond. A vagabond is a guy who doesn't have a place to call home, or sometimes spend in the streets. There's one particular night in this village that I spent in a sugarcane plantation till morning. It was that tough. And I grew up, I knew for myself that I was a bright student who needed a future. But the future was collapsing right in front of me, and there was no hope presenting that I could head anywhere. And just before I proceed with this story, give me an opportunity to just appreciate the many people who are seated here. There are a number of them who stood up for me. And if they didn't stand up for me, I don't know where I would be today. I've never taken an opportunity to appreciate Chief Morris Ayeko. God bless you. There are a few things that you did that if you didn't do, if only you refused to do them, then that would have been the end of me. I've never come back to tell you thank you. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate you. In the effort to give myself a future, I went doing anything that came my way. So as you see me here, I'm a tractor driver, I'm a tractor operator. There is absolutely nothing that you've been into that I've not been into. For that reason, you have no single excuse to settle for mediocrity. Not mediocrity, to settle for less. I'm standing here to tell you that there is nothing tough that you have faced in life that I've not faced. And having come the far you see me today, I can tell you for a fact that you guys have got a bright future. But that bright future is upon you to work for. God Himself has set that future for you. It is upon you to choose whether you want to start going for it or you want to give up because of the many circumstances that you are facing in life. After it got so tough, I went for every opportunity that came. Job opportunity, study opportunity. I remember after struggling to see that I finally complete secondary school, that was again the toughest journey of my life. And to start for exam. I didn't perform so well, but whatever I got me moving. And when I started looking for which courses to go for, I had to take myself for courses. There's a time I was sent out of school because I couldn't manage it, and I told the administration that you guys want to send me home. But before you send me home, get this point. If you are sending me home, know that you are sending me to myself. There is no other father or mother you are sending me to. So let me talk to you as the parents to myself, that if you send me away today for lack of money, you will have closed the chapter of my life. Do you choose to be the person who closed my future? My fate is in your hands to choose on whether you want to allow me to proceed and see life in my future, or you decide to shut it here. And the guy was lost of words, and he thought of the many things that I could do, and he told me, just go to class as I think about your issue. In this life, if you do not stand up for yourself, nobody is there to stand up for you. And for a long time, I used to pity myself. I used to say, now I'm suffering because I do not have a father, I do not have a mother, I do not have a home, I do not have people to stand up for me, so the future is so bleak. I'm suffering. So I would pity myself and call myself an orphan. And that was the greatest enemy of my life. If you're still seated here and you still pity yourself, I want to move you from there. Never speak that about yourself. Are we together? God has set a bright future before you, and it is upon you to decide whether you want to go for it or not. Mine was tough. I remember when I went to start life in Migori town, I carried my few stuff. All my stuff could fit in my school box. My first house that I rented was 350 shillings, and I could not manage to pay it. And the rent piled up to about 1,800, and that was just too much for me. I couldn't manage to settle that. So one day the landlady comes, and it was someone's kitchen. It wasn't a house per se. It was a kitchen that was not in use. So they set it aside and decided that, okay, if Kijana, you want a house, you can have this one, but you'll be paying us 350. So when it piled and I couldn't manage it, one day she told me, now Kijana, the only reason why I can't send you away is because you are a disciplined boy. But otherwise I would have sent you away. But now because you are disciplined and you have behaved in this home like my very own son, now I'm waiving all the arrears. You won't pay all those arrears, right? And so we are starting afresh. And this time round it won't be 350, it will be 300. Is that okay with you? I said yes. Then the journey started again. Then the journey was tough. 300 shillings. Not a lot of money, 300 shillings. But later on, because of the many opportunities that I was pursuing, I went and tried chance. My first course was secretarial. I sat in a classroom where the whole classroom was full of ladies and with typewriters in front of us. I also sat before my typewriter and I went through the course. Towards finishing it, I met another course that was called English for Business Communication. Then I remembered that if it is English and it is about business and it is about communication, I'm not so bad at this. Let me settle for it. And I sat in class and studied the English and I did the exams. And the exam was UK based. It was Pitman's qualifications. I did it. I passed. Then another course came up that was called Office Procedures. Then I studied office procedures, did the exams and finished it and passed. Then opportunities were not yet coming. Then I met another opportunity to study ICT. Then I started, I first of all did application packages. While in class 2, my dream was to be a journalist. And I remember I would read the news before the classroom. Right from the time I was in Angaga Primary, then came over, I studied in Kondoro a little bit and Kambundo before my dad was transferred to Kakwara, and then at Kakwara, I was now good. I could just read news. And then when I joined Kanga, then I became just so good. I would imagine myself reporting news on NTV or Citizen, and because I was so good in Swahili and English, but opportunity wasn't coming. So I was dying for this. Fast forward. Today, I bought a piece of land. I have my home. I'm the founder of Green Life Organization, which is an environment-oriented, community-based organization. And we are raising trees here, and I'm building an organization that I look forward to bringing great transformation in this society. That is the far I've come. Would it work? Number one was begging, moving to people, I'm an orphan and I want to be helped, whatnot. Tell life that I'm the son of this universe, and every opportunity that God has laid down, qualify to benefit from that opportunity and start going for that opportunity. Nobody will give you space. Rise up for yourself and face life and ask yourself what you want. By the way, because of time, I've not even told you that I went and studied journalism and finally became a journalist as I wanted. Dream and pursue your dream. I look forward to catching up with you in our next day when fate allows, but I wish you the very best. Time, the ball is in your court. Play it according to how you wish. Thank you very much. God bless you.
19, the story of Moses, and especially when he was sent now to act, having been given the power. When God challenged Moses, what do you have? Moses didn't realize about his potentiality then. But God challenged him, what do you have? Then he realized that he had a step. That was a strength. Don't you think you have life? Do you have life? That is your strength. Start from there. God, you've given me life. Then what about this life? What is it that I can do out of the fact that I'm a living creation? We have a lot that we can do. So challenge yourself. But if you find it difficult, then get back to the Lord. When Moses went back to the Lord, he was told, go and tell them that I am who I am, who has sent you. That brings me to the last story. When I just became of age to fend for myself, life was challenging. It was in Nairobi, I remember. Then I found people were being hired for casual job because I didn't have any profession. I could do anything. I remember we were taken to help publishing the Patel book series. They were just hiring for volunteers and scholars. They give you a topic, you research, you write, they publish a book. You earn peanuts, they earn good money. So that went. We didn't stop there, it was unbearable. Then one day I sat down and I looked at where I was coming from. I was staying at Jericho, paying like 4,000. And that was living then. I was not employed, but I employed myself. So let's be cognizant of our environment and our ability, then we can make out life from where we are. Now, in the same economic pillar, we talk of value addition. Value addition. In everything mechanizing, we can add value. We can add value in packaging. We talk of cane industry here. We can add value to cane industry. We do journaling here. We can add value to that. We can repackage and sell because we can survive on our brain. We can survive on our ability to observe.
There are key things that we need to know. Number one is where the last speaker stopped. God first. God first. That is it. There is a point in life where you will reach and you will find. That is why today we have people committing suicide. That is today we have people sinking in depression. Because they have reached a point where they have no other hope. But when you ground yourself in God, then there is hope. Even if there is no hope for here, there is hope for tomorrow, somewhere. So that is why in the Bible, in most instances, they have quoted Genesis. Now let me go to Exodus 33. If you go to Exodus 33, when the Israelites had gathered around Mount Sinai and they were to proceed with the journey, Moses went and asked God, can we really go? It's the other way. God asked Moses to leave with the Israelites. But then he was told, he told God that if your presence will not go with us, then you will rather leave us what? Here. If your presence will not go with us, then you will rather leave us what? Here. So the first thing is what? God. So as new young guys, we need to first tell you that if you want to succeed, the first thing is God. Know God. Because there will reach a point where you will actually lose interest. In political science, which I teach, there is a famous quote that says, an armed prophet conquers and an unarmed prophet is conquered. The reason as to why we use that quote is because human interest changes and wanes over a period of time. So if you are armed as a prophet, you will be able to keep people in line. But if you have no weapon to help you keep people in line, then what will happen? They will definitely rebel against you. And you will have no any other way of getting them to the line. And that's why we are saying an armed prophet conquers and an unarmed prophet is conquered. They are human beings by nature, lose interest. And for you to keep them, to follow you for a long period of time, you must have a way in which you get to control them. That is why you need God.